I'm the county director for Mississippi State University Extension Service here in Winston County.
Oh, well, I'm happy to meet you. I've been wanting to get connected with you and haven't done that yet.
Right.
And do you have diabetes?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Okay. And you're not part of the coalition right now.
Well, I'm involved because of the coalition projects and activities. A lot of those are conducted through our office.
Right.
We assist with the educational part. We provide the facilities, for the coalition. So yes, and in that connection I am.
All right. And so I've met Rita and Sharon.
Right.
Okay. Very good. Okay. So let's just begin with, if I mention the word diabetes, what comes to your mind?
I guess the first thing that really comes to my mind is a very serious issue and disease problem that we have throughout the nation, but particularly here in Mississippi. And I think people really don't understand the word diabetes and the impact that it really makes on lives. And you think about diabetes, as I think about friends and family members I've had over the years with diabetes, we try to make it really complex, but it's really not, because there's basically two types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is just simply the inability, of the pancreas to produce the things that we need to utilize the glucose and the sugars within our body system. And then type 2, which is the most common, that we deal with and I hear of and aware of, is simply, that the pancreas can produce, what we need, but simply the body is not efficient in utilizing what it does produce or the lack of. So I think, it's just a term that I just wish more people understood what the issue was and how to address the needs that people with diabetes have.
And if you were to make a suggestion about how to better inform people about that, what kinds of things would you think of?
I think we need to be working, of course, I represent Mississippi State University, which is an educational arm of the university. I think here in rural Mississippi, in particular in Winston County, our biggest problem is the lack of really the programming and the efforts made to really educate people. Because oftentimes it's very frustrating for us to try to figure ways and techniques, because there is such a misconception of the understanding of the seriousness of diabetes. And it's a challenge for us to look for those ways to extend, to teach people, to make them aware that this is a very common disease, but it's something we can address. Because like I said earlier, from my understanding, type 2 is the most common, with probably 95% of the people with diabetes having type 2. And we can deal with type 2 basically with two avenues, in my opinion. That's, diet, nutrition, and physical exercise. And I just, all the organizations, entities that are involved, our mission needs to be just to continue to reach out and try to educate, that you can make changes, that will help prevent, or if you don't prevent, at least be able to maintain a very healthy lifestyle. So I would say my key, is the educational aspect.
And what kinds of roles do you see the Extension Office taking in all of this?
Our role is, I really think, to take the leadership role with other organizations, other opportunities, just like the Diabetic Coalition here in Winston County, to provide facilities where people have the opportunity to come, to sit in a comfortable atmosphere, to learn, to partake, to ask questions, to interact. I see our role, to work with other groups and entities to try to spread, the word to every person that we possibly can. Our population here in Winston County, last census data, our population is down a little bit. We're really hanging around 20,000 as far as our total population. And, it's to try to reach every boy, girl, and adult within our county structure. That, even people that don't have diabetes themselves, so many have family members and friends that do. And, the better job that we can do in educating people, not to be afraid of this disease, but, that we can deal with it, we can address the issues, and try to get more people involved. So many people, sit back, they take things for granted and not maybe in the proactive mode. And I guess I take that as a personal challenge, trying to help people be in more of a proactive mode. And I guess that's what's so, exciting, particularly with the Diabetic Coalition here in our county, and what that particular group is doing within our county, along with other groups and organizations that are promoting education.
How do you think we can get more people involved in taking becoming more active and?
To be honest with you, I don't think it's just about having meetings and inviting people. I think you can have meetings. I think you can have food and drink and do a lot of advertising, that we're having this meeting, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock at, City Hall or the courthouse, the Winston County Extension Office. I think it's taking it door to door as much as possible. I think it's getting involved in church groups, civic clubs, or other organizations, getting involved on as we say within the university system, the grassroots, the real people, where it hits the pavement. I think it takes going into communities and neighborhoods and letting people see that you're sincere about what you're doing. It's easy to talk a good game, but it's another thing to live it, to preach it, to apply it every day. And I think a lot of times people are skeptical of what's taking place in life events, and I think they have to see that you're genuine and that you're really concerned about their health, the welfare of their family. And I think it means going to the people as much as possible instead of letting people or expecting people to come to you. And I think that's probably a misnomer in our world, in the educational world that I work in.
Now, right now, there's been such a change in our food economy and availability and people's understanding even about how to cook or what to cook. And Extension in the past took a big role in those things. What do you see as ways that we might sort of reinvent Extension?
Well, it's kind of amazing that you would mention that. My family has a very strong tie to the legacy of the university system, the Extension Service. And, every state in the United States has a land-grant university system and educational program. And I remember stories of people coming to my grandfather's farm and, doing canning demonstration, food preparation demonstrations on farm site. The neighbors would come. And, today we're still in the leading forefront of that. But I don't know really how honest you want me to be about this. It's frustrating to walk into the grocery store and see people and the buggies that they're pushing and the food items that go in their buggies. We've become a society that's a junk food society, fast, convenient, easy. And, you don't see fruits and vegetables going in those shopping carts. You don't see, the protein, the meats, going in, the breads going into the shopping carts. I think we have lost and with every generation that passes, we lose that ability to go into the kitchen, prepare a healthy, meal for our families. And Extension's still in that role of teaching and demonstrating. But I think because the society changes, that we are so fast-paced, it's quick, it's easy, it's convenient, we're just not teaching our children, and our children are not teaching their children, those healthy food choices. And it takes more than just a little short educational program. It takes more than just a little workshop. We're going to the classroom 1 or 2 times and saying, okay, this is what you need to do. I think, looking for those cutting-edge technologies, of really kind of getting back to the basics of showing and teaching people and helping them to realize these serious issues that we're facing, whether it's diabetes or heart disease or cancer. We've gotten away from kind of the basics of what we are and the ability to produce the produce that we need and then consume it and prepare to consume it. And, it's a problem that's been occurring for many, many years, and there's not an easy cure tonight or today to solve it. It's going to be a long-term approach with everybody working together to turn things around. And I think that's what it's going to take. I think we've got to make a change within this nation of people understanding those concepts.
So if we look just right here in Winston County and we begin to think about what the problems are, and they're much as you've said,
right.
And where do we start?
I think you start, from my standpoint, not just as an educator, but a citizen and as a person that's concerned about the lifestyles that we live. I think we have to be honest with ourselves and face the fact that there are some things that we're doing that are methodical, that are not working. No matter how much money we have to spend on programs, sometimes is not the answer. I think we need to pull together people, just like the Diabetic Coalition, individuals that are concerned about the welfare, and that we try to address those issues within society. I think you sit down at a round table and you say, okay, what are the rural issues? Identify those rural issues, and then how do we address those issues? What's your ideas? What's your thought process? You have so many different groups, even in a small rural county like Winston County. There are so many different groups. There are so many different cultures. There are so many different misrepresentations or understandings. You've always got a political base you're trying to deal with, and it's everybody putting their personal agendas aside and saying, okay, here's our problems. How do we address those problems? And once those problems are identified, then come to an agreement on how we're going to begin to address those problems step by step on the local level. I don't think we solve things on a national level or state level. I think you solve things on a local level first. And I think when state and national sees those changes and those results, then I think you prompt those changes at those higher levels.
So if here in the county you wanted to get some, I know that you're already invested in your programming that you traditionally do with extension.
Right.
But in order to make change and begin to move forward, what would be some of the new things if you had money and time and ability to do it, what would be some of the things you would want to move forward with?
I think I'd start looking at those groups that I felt like within my heart and in the input of our community where I could really make the biggest impact the quickest. I think I would not just go into the classrooms with the kids and do monthly activities. I think I would work with our school administration, trying to make sure that we're in those school systems every opportunity we have to really help those young people understand what's at stake, what the considerations are. Not just from the food and nutrition diet aspect, but from physical education aspect. Mm-hmm. We've seen such a change within our public school systems and what they're teaching, versus what I learned when I was in the public school situation. I think I network closer with our church activities and with our social and civic clubs and the different groups of making sure that instead of periodically, making our parents to do a 30-minute presentation, that we're in there as much as possible with volunteers that are trained and have the materials that have been made available to them to do monthly teachings or bi-monthly teachings with them, cooking demonstrations, within those structures, within the grocery stores, within the Walmarts, the different vendors that are out there, a closer network to them, because it's just a benefit to them. Mm-hmm. It's a benefit to them that they increase their sales within those meat items, those vegetable items, bread items, different things like that, versus the quick, the easy, the convenient type things. People are somewhat resistant to change, but I think when they see how genuine a person is, about that, then they're more adapted to make those opportunities, to make those changes. I think a closer network with our local hospital and doctors in the medical profession. We deal with them, we work with them, but it's kind of, I hate to say hit and miss, but that's the reality of what it is. Mm-hmm. I think we need to have stronger ties with them and a commitment to them and them to us as well. When I say us, I'm not talking about just the university-based system. I'm talking about to a group of people that are totally committed to, yes, this is something we can do and we can make some changes. You think outside those boxes and you look for those new, we talked about technology. Is it things that we can do in a technology mode and fashion that we haven't thought about, that we haven't looked about, looked at to address some of those needs and concerns and issues?
Is there any group currently that's trying to pull all of this leadership together and begin to have these conversations?
You see, there's the group here, in the city of Louisville that's looking at trying to do some things. Then, you have the Diabetic Coalition, you have our program. We intermingle together, but as far as coming to the table and with everybody or as many people as possible to represent the common good of the county and identify those issues and how to address those issues. Everybody's kind of doing their little thing, but no one's really kind of pulling everybody together for the whole benefit of the county. And within that, certain groups get left out. Certain interests get left out. And that's, I guess, I'm being too honest, but sometimes I really think we're missing the sum total of the whole, with the bits and pieces. We all want to feel good about what we're doing, perhaps, and we are doing good things. Every group, every entity that I can think of, is doing great things. But if we pull all those resources and all that energy together for that one common good, and I think we're headed in that direction, but we're not there. And I couldn't help but think yesterday afternoon when Janice called me and asked me to be a part of this, is this might be the prime starting point of kind of looking at the input that everybody's having through this interview process and who Janice was able to pull together for this interview process, of taking just this group of this entity of individuals together and sitting down and really trying to say, okay, let's get really serious about this, because every day someone else is being diagnosed with diabetes. Every day someone's suffering additional health problems as a result of diabetes. Someone's has lost their life due to diabetes, or there goes someone's ankle or foot or hand that's been amputated because of the seriousness of the disease every single day, that we keep missing those opportunities. But it takes, yes, as you mentioned, it takes serious money and it takes serious manpower. But I think the greater is the fact of having people that has that commitment that, we can make a difference. And those people are here. And they're here throughout the country. It's not just here. It's throughout the country. And you see and you hear of great things that are happening, but we've got a lot of work to be done.
Well, it seems that very often, your comment, everybody's doing good things, but we're all doing the same thing over and over again. And rather than building on that, is that what you?
I think so, yes, ma'am. I would agree with that. I really would agree with that.
And one of the things you mentioned here just a little bit ago, you did mention churches. It seems that that's an avenue of possibility.
Here, speaking for Winston County, it is a great avenue of possibilities. Because we have a number of churches within our county, representation of all groups and cultures within our county. Churches is religion, I know, is very controversial throughout many parts of our country, but here in the Deep South, it's still a very strong, community group of people too. And even though you may not have those people that are quote unquote maybe not so active in their church, but pretty well most families, that I know of, they may not be in that church 24/7, but their family members are in and out, and they have a base that's very deeply rooted, and oriented to church and to religion here. And tying those in together, I think, would be, a great opportunity for us.
We've pretty much covered a lot of things, but you didn't mention workplaces.
Workplaces, it's kind of funny, for example, within our office, we are a very small office, but we have a staff of, 6 of us within the office. We have a tradition, we like to eat within our office. And sometimes it's junk food, but we really try to think about each other and those healthy components within our office, and as far as diet, nutrition. Everybody, we talk about exercise, we talk about physical activities. I think regardless of the size of the workplace, whether it's an office like ours of 6, or if it's a Taylor Machine Works here in Louisville, Mississippi, that employs 350 people, I think we need to make sure that those companies, those businesses, those entities, have the opportunity that they're educated in what diabetes are, how to prevent, how to deal with, support that individuals with a diabetic condition needs, healthy food choices in snack machines, vending machines. opportunities to promote physical activities within the workplace. Whether it's encouraging, employees, 15 minutes of the lunch break, to take a walk on the walking trail, or just some interaction there. There's tons of things that I think our companies and would be very beneficial to every workplace that I know of. Just for the health and welfare of their employees, and therefore being more productive. And I think most businesses and entities, are very responsible for that. How much of that's being done, I'm not sure. Is that a lack of us supporting, encouraging, educating those businesses, those industries in the workplace to do those things? Maybe it's on our shoulders and not theirs.
One last thing I wanted to ask you about that I actually haven't talked to anybody about is the issue of tobacco. What's happening with extension around tobacco?
Well, we're in the state of Mississippi was one of the leading states in tobacco lawsuit litigation in the nation. And our state government was very committed to taking a lot of those funds and putting them to tobacco education. And throughout our state, there has been a great movement, a great push to really work on tobacco education, to make work facilities, public places, smoke-free. Our school area is smoke-free. Here in Winston County, not only state monies, but other grant monies have come into our county. And I guess over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of effort and time put into tobacco education within our county. I think it's making an impact. I think it is making a difference, kind of baby step. But again, it's just like so many issues that we face. It is a constant 24-hour-a-day educational program for our citizens.
And is tobacco grown much in this area?
No, ma'am. We don't have any tobacco production.
Okay,
right.
But you still have the problem of
consumption.
Use.
Yes.
And are you seeing people quitting and young people taking it on, or do you have any sense of that?
I haven't seen the numbers lately. Just observing young people at sports activities, different social activities, you still see a fair amount. I think the economics of it has, the price of tobacco products and everything else has phased out some people. But I lost two friends several years ago, a man and a wife, and they have a son. And she died of cancer. In fact, the last number of months of her life and everything else, she had her tongue removed and lived on liquid diet, heavy cigarette smoker. Her husband died approximately 2.5 years after she did, lung cancer, throat cancer, heavy smoker. Their son, of all things, you're watching the mom and dad die horrible death from cancer, a very prolonged death. You would think would not have anything to do with tobacco products whatsoever, and he's a constant chain smoker. I think sometimes it's, I don't want to say a mental issue, as far as just a mental block. Well, it's not going to happen to me. It happened to them. It's a chance I take. The addiction, I think it's the whole aspect of it. And and that's the other thing. So many times I've seen some of our diabetic friends is the onset of use of tobacco products as well, and it just hand in hand just makes their overall health problems even worse. But it's like, I guess, an adage someone once told me is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink. But it's our mission, it's our road to try to always provide the education, give people an opportunity to change. And then it's up to them. It's up to them to make that choice. Do I want a healthier lifestyle, or do I want to deal with the consequences? But at least you and I, through the use of programs like this, funding opportunities and resources are put together, at least we know that we're doing everything we can to at least let them make an informed decision and then see what happens.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you.